Welcome back to The Viewpoint here on Good Morning Kenya. My name is Mike Migwe. Now from that spirited talk about the impeachment of the Deputy President, which actually the motion was read yesterday and it got support of more than 291 members. All eyes now are on Parliament to see how that will turn out, especially given that we are entering into uncharted waters. This is the first time that we are having a deputy president being impeached. But that is a story that we are going to keep tabs of and inform you as it happens. But now we shift gears and talk about matters religious and spirituality. Actually, the topic on this segment of Viewpoint is the impact of religious pilgrimages. And in studio to help me in that conversation is Reverend Father Dr. Sahaya G. Selvan from the Salesians of Don Bosco. Welcome to Good Morning Kenya.
Thank you.
How are you doing?
I'm well.
Yes.
Thank you.
Now, when we talk about the impact of religious pilgrimages, you did a 224-kilometer walk from Subukia to Upper Hill.
Yes.
Shrine to shrine walk. Yeah. First of all, what necessitated that walk?
Okay, so our walk was from the 21st of last month.
Yes.
To the 28th, 8 days of walking from Subukia, mostly along the Nyandarua County. And we were in a group of 13 people. Then there were others who joined for a day, sometimes for a half a day. It was a lot of investment of time. Now, what motivated? I walk a lot, personally. I used to play basketball when I was younger. Then I took up walking. I walk like an average of, say, 20 kilometers a week.
Yes. Sometimes
I challenge myself to walk 16 on a day, 20 on a day. So I always wanted to do a long walk for a cause. So this idea of having a youth spirituality center at the heart of Nairobi came up. And so I said, let me walk for this. So initially I wanted to walk with one other person. Then it happened to be a large group. There was a lot of fun over it and a lot of fuss, I would say.
Yes.
I was not very comfortable with the limelight, yes. But we did it.
Yeah. Did you achieve the targets? Because you are looking to, as you've said, establish a youth pilgrimage center. Did you achieve the target?
Now, the target was not just the money. The target was a spiritual experience. And definitely all of us had a spiritual orientation. For me, I feel charged spiritually out of that walk. But in terms of funds, our target was 2.2 million. Like we were calculating every step to be 10 shilling. So a kilometer, 10,000 shilling, 10,000 steps, 10,000 shillings. So we calculated like 220 kilometers. And so our target was 2.2, but we have gone way beyond our target.
Wow, that's interesting.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Yeah. And talking about these pilgrimages, how do you see them impacting the religious community within the country?
Human beings from time immemorial have walked for religious reasons, pilgrimages. Muslims have the Hajj. Hindus walk from temple to temple across India. And Christians have walked to the Holy Land and shrines. So pilgrimages have been an important ritual in religious practice. And what is happening in Kenya now, in the Catholic tradition, a lot of Kenyans walk to Subukia, to Namugongo in Uganda, the Martyrs Shrine, and there are some go all the way to Rwanda, Kibeho. So those are now becoming targets or spaces where people can go for a pilgrimage. Even here, there is also Komorok Shrine, the Catholic places. So there are sacred spaces that people want to visit. And when they take on certain pain, physical pain, You know, religion is about rituals. Rituals are always external actions that have an internal meaning. So as I walk, I take on a pain. I'm going through an inner process of renunciation, reparation, an act of seeking something beyond myself. Yeah.
Now, you work with the youth.
Yeah.
You're involved in the youth. How are they taking these religious matters, especially nowadays that they are independent thinkers, they know what they want?
Yeah.
What can you say such pilgrimages will have an impact on the youth?
Okay. Let me give a background to myself to understand my relationship with the youth. I am a Catholic priest belonging to the Don Bosco group. We are called Salesians of Don Bosco.
Yes.
We were founded in the 19th century in Turin as a response to industrial revolution. That was at the heart of Europe at that time. And Turin was one of the industrial cities. And our founder, Don Bosco, came up with this idea of founding a group that will take care of the youth by providing especially Tibet education so that they can fit into the industrial world, that they can find meaningful jobs and have meaningful wage. So that is how we were founded, but with a religious motivation. As we speak, we have 14,000 men and an equal number of women who work within the Catholic Church for the cause of youth. As a person, my PhD background is in psychology, and I bring together in my academic area positive psychology and psychology of religion. Positive psychology is focused on well-being, what contributes to flourishing of individuals and societies and groups of people. And psychology of religion critically looks at what aspects really assist in the functioning of people in the world. So for me, and the target of my population is always youth. So I study what dimensions of religion help young people to flourish, to function, to become their best selves in the world. So speaking from that perspective, what role does pilgrimage have? Definitely, okay, in our group there were not a lot of young people.
Yes.
The youngest person was in his early 30s, and he was a media person on a bike. So I just invited him to be part of that. He is employed in a digital marketing space. And it was interesting to also to see that all of us, the core group of 13 of us who walked, the average age was like 50. Most of us were in our 50s. There were two people in their 60s. The oldest person was 67. Maria, she was the best walker actually, with no injuries, no strain, 67. So I was reflecting about the role of young people in this. I tend to think that young people today in the contemporary urban culture want to be celebs, celebrities, overnight, media hype. Whereas I think our generation, we want to be heroes. Now the difference between celebrities and heroes is that a hero is ready to take on pain, to suffer for a cause. And we might get limelight in the process, but we know we have achieved a cause. We have done something meaningful for ourselves. So my challenge to young people is move from looking for shortcuts to being celebrities to being heroes, you know. But being a hero means you have to suffer. You have to take on pain. And that's a challenge.
So how as Salesians of Don Bosco, how do you enhance their faith, especially when you're dealing with the youth?
Yeah. So we Salesians have a 4-dimensional approach to youth. The physical dimension, the intellectual dimension, the socio-emotional dimension, and the spiritual dimension. We do not separate the soul from the body and the mind. So we deal with the whole person. So we provide a space where a young person can achieve or grow in the 4 dimensions of their self. So for example, if you visit our Don Bosco institutions, you will see a lot of physical space for games, sports. We encourage that because it's about physical and providing ambient for growth, physical growth. And we provide education. We provide opportunities for people to discuss issues in an intellectual way, reasoning out. We provide a support system like a home, a family spirit where people can grow emotionally. And basically, and then the spiritual. So we seek God in all things and through all things. You know, there is in the Bible, in the Gospels, there is only one sentence about Jesus, of what happened to him between the age of 12 and 30. Luke 2:52. It says he grew in stature physically, he grew in wisdom intellectually, he grew in favor with people around, socio-emotionally, and he grew in favor with God. So that is what we provide to young people as Salesians of Don Bosco.
Yes. We talk about that, even as we talk about pilgrimages, there is the aspect of religious extremism.
Yeah.
There's a bill that was introduced and is going to check or deal with religious extremism on one side and also seek to regulate religious institutions. What is your take on that?
If that is a Rwandese model, I have not looked at the draft of the Kenyan bill, proposed bill, but if it is a Rwandese model, we in the mainline churches, we have nothing to fear. So I would be unfair that if I were to openly support the bill because it is going to be in our favor. Of, like me, if you take me as a Selvam, I have studied 12 years. After my schooling, let's say KCSE, Kenyan level of KCSE, I have been in formation and training for 12 years to be ordained a priest, where the bishop put his hand on me and ordained a priest when I function as a priest. But there are preachers who come overnight. Definitely, I'm not questioning the work of God. I'm not questioning the work of the Holy Spirit. But they can victimize believers because of shallow information, shallow knowledge, shallow background, not seeing faith in a holistic manner. And so, yeah, those are the dynamics of having a regulatory process around these things. And definitely we need to safeguard the weak people, vulnerable people in any society. And that's where I think legal frameworks come in. Lawmakers come in to protect vulnerable population. And definitely some people are vulnerable in front of religious leaders, including mainline churches. I'm sure. You know, we are powerful in front of a faithful and adherent of a religion. Now, talking about extremism, religious extremism is another topic. A bill may not reduce extremism, religious extremism. Religious extremism is about a psychological process of how religion uses fear, anxiety, guilt to buy the brain of somebody else. So for me, I belong to my religion as a Catholic because the way I perceive my Catholic faith is that it gives me freedom. There is a wide choice. Now, even in the Catholic tradition, if somebody is bringing me topics of fear and anxiety and guilt, I would be wary of that because that is the trap for brainwashing. And when you're brainwashed, then you run the risk of being taking on extremism. You become vulnerable in front of a religious leader.
If you compare such cases, because we have extremism, religious extremism in rural areas and in urban centers, but you find that this aspect is more prevalent in rural areas. Why is that?
It could be because of lower levels of education. It could be because of poverty, certain desperation to find solutions to individuals' problems. But having said that, even a person in the urban area, even an educated person, even person who is having a political power, can be led to a religious tradition that can brainwash him. Yeah. So there could be political leaders who are making decisions based on what they are hearing from their pastors. So I would not really say it's only true in a rural population. Rural population could be more vulnerable because they have more problems and they have less opportunities. So people are desperate. So faith comes in to as a Panadol, as a pill you take because you're in pain.
Yes.
And for me, religion is not Panadol.
Yes.
Yeah. Religion is something that offers you meaning in life. Yeah. It is not, for me, the God I believe in does not solve my problems. He only strengthens me to find meaning in my life's problems. Because being human means I have to go with my pain. You know, if I hit my hand against this table, my hand will pain. And that pain is good for me because it just wants me where my hand ends and where an object begins. So can God take away that pain? No. So religion provides meaning for me to accept that pain. Yeah. So I don't look at my religion as a Panadol. I look at it as a meaning system. Yeah. So those attitudes can reduce extremism. Yeah.
So from your standpoint, it's one of the things that can help deal with the aspect of religious extremism. Now, during your walk, talk about the encounters that you had along the way, because it is not an easy journey. Over 200 kilometers is not an easy journey.
Yeah. So, in the beginning, there is a lot of euphoria. You feel hyped up, Of course, we did practice sessions. And then on the 6th day, your feet are now aching like blisters. It's not just because of bad shoes. There are many factors to blisters. For example, on a particular day, we were walking between Jabini and Magumu. They had recarpeted the road. And these loose gravels were all over. And there was no other walking space. We had to walk on these loose gravels. And that's the day my feet got hurt, And then the next day, you have to walk, you have to get up and be on the road again. So that was those challenges. So then Nyandarua County, as you walk from Wolkalau, Dondori. So on the first day, we walked from Subukia to Dondori. That is about 32 kilometers. And then Dondori, the altitude difference is also very high. Dondori is 2,700 meters. And then Wolkalau to Manunga to Engineer, that is North Kinangop, and then Engineer to Magumu, and Magumu to Limuru to Karen to Nairobi. We used that sort of a route. And now, major part of our route was through Nyandarua County. You see the milk there, you see the potatoes there, you see the sheep there, and yet young people are sitting on the road. So you engage with them. This is a school-going age. Why? School fees, tumefukuzwa. And what school fees are we talking about? It's about 3,000, 4,000. They do not have cash. So even as you are doing this pilgrimage for a religious purpose, you are getting in touch with people. And you ask, what's happening here? Or a young guy sitting around, so say, no work, no job. Is it because they are not willing to work with older adults in the farm? A Form 4 leaver, is it that he didn't perform well to get to continue education? Is it lack of resources? So, yeah, those are the very powerful experiences for me as a Don Bosco priest.
Yes.
What do we do about these young people on the streets? Not just in Nairobi, but in the rural areas of Kenya.
Yes.
Yeah. So I got I was in touch with this grassroots there, even as we walk.
Yes.
Because when you drive on a car, you hardly see what's happening there.
Yeah.
you have an overall view. But when you walk, you are encountering real people.
Yes. I want you to close with this. What is your message about pilgrimages and other forms of sacrifice as we close?
Okay. In Europe, there are popular pilgrimage paths. I hope these sort of paths can be explored even in Kenya. It will have a religious motivation, but it can also improve economy.
Yes.
Because people are walking and they're encountering. There can be commercial development.
Yeah.
So I hope the path that we walked, not through Nakuru and Naivasha, but through this Nyandarua County alternative path, can become a famous pilgrimage path that even Europeans can come to walk.
Yes.
Yeah. So that is one aspect of pilgrimage that can become part of a tradition here in Kenya.
Yes. Thank you so much for making time to come on Good Morning Kenya.
Thank you, and nice being here.
Yes. And that is Reverend Dr. Father Sahaya G. Selvan of Salesians of Don Bosco talking to us about the impact of religious pilgrimage. This is where we cap this conversation, but don't go too far. Good Morning Kenya continues shortly with Vivian Ndego. My name is Mike Megwe. Good morning.
Is leading from behind.
Hii si haki. Kusema kweli nilipaswa kwa